like it. We complain about it. But people have gotten used to paying $3 a gallon for gasoline. What would they say if they knew the true price at the pump?
The American public is actually paying around $7 a gallon.
This man knows what he's talking about. Four-star General Charles Wald, a specialist in energy security, was the deputy commander of all U.S. military forces across 91 countries. Listen closely.
If you look at how much money we put into securing that oil, the $50 to $60 billion a year just in the Persian Gulf alone that's been used for energy security, the American public is actually paying around $7 a gallon. 90% of all the energy produced in the world, or oil I should say, the reserves are owned by national companies. Places like the Middle East or Venezuela or Russia or Iran or Iraq, and that's problematic.
We have a serious problem. America is addicted to oil.
I don't think the American public is pleased that we have people that can manipulate our foreign policy or our actions based on the threat of interrupting oil, OPEC or anybody else.
That makes energy security one of General Wald's top 3 priorities for national security.
Terrorism was number 1. Terrorism combined with the WMD, and then following right after that, I think, is energy security, personally. The immediate solution is to try to get ourselves out of the dependency of this imported oil, which will take quite a while, but we need to address it now.
Energy security, curing our addiction to oil. We can all agree on the problem, but where's the solution?
I like the cap and trade idea because it's more of an economical solution. It's more in line with free markets, and you can get the benefit of both a clean environment as well as a good economy.
17 years ago, the first President Bush signed America's first cap-and-trade system into law. Emissions of sulfur dioxide, acid rain, were killing off fish, damaging forests, even tarnishing the paint on new automobiles. Congress and the White House forged a solution.
This landmark legislation will reduce air pollution each year by 56 billion pounds. That's 224 pounds for every man, woman, and child in America.
As President Bush's EPA director, William Riley was the man in charge of implementing cap and trade. Today, Riley is a global investor in water and energy projects.
If you examine the American history with sulfur dioxide control, what made it effective and efficient was it had a market-based mechanism. It had cap and trade.
Under a cap and trade system, the cap sets the maximum allowable level of pollution, but each company decides for itself how to get there. Some companies find they can reduce their emissions far below the cap. Others prefer to trade and purchase some of those excess reductions.
Once we did that, we discovered that the efficient companies that could get down below the standard could sell their excess to the less efficient ones, and the net result was a 50% improvement in the amount of emissions of sulfur dioxide. At a fraction of the cost it would have involved if we had simply set a regulation and said meet it by command and control. Once there was a cap on sulfur dioxides, all sorts of new investments, new technologies, new approaches suddenly became practical, suddenly became economically attractive. The same will happen if we have a cap on carbon.
New investments, new technologies, new approaches. They're cropping up everywhere, like here in Iowa. Phil Sundblad is standing on a ridgetop near his 1,100-acre farm. Phil and 9 partners just built 10 commercial wind turbines as an investment.
They're all guys about my age, have young kids, and these things will be putting kids through college.
Phil is also one of 400 local investors in Emmitsburg, Iowa's ethanol plant.
We want to do that same type of principle where we can maybe go out and maybe put up 50 to 100 turbines, go out and raise the money locally like that.
Ted Hollinger used to run an engineering lab in Detroit, developing futuristic hydrogen engines. Now he has his own factory in Iowa and produces actual hydrogen engines.
This engine was it's an old Ford engine that we've redesigned to bring up to 2007 standards, and it'll run on all the fuels, gas, natural gas, propane, hydrogen, so on. We're upgrading it so it can run on new fuels, get rid of the emissions, work on fuels that are not fossil fuel based, and it can be serviced by just about any mechanic in the world.
We really helped start this industry that has grown to where it is today out in the heartland of America.
Jeff Broin's company produces 1 billion gallons of ethanol a year. Here in Iowa, he's building one of the country's first cellulosic ethanol plants. It will make gasoline from corn cobs and stalks, not just the kernels. How much gasoline?
We believe that we can pretty easily get up to 5 billion gallons of cellulosic ethanol, probably, potentially long-term, up to 2 times that, as it could be as high as 10 billion gallons long-term. 10 billion gallons would be 7 to 8% of the gasoline supply for the entire country.
New investments, new technologies, new approaches. All we need now are economic policies to stimulate the massive investment these challenges require. Once that happens, entrepreneurs across America will be ready to answer the call.
I deeply believe in the power of entrepreneurs. We've seen their ability to solve problems and transform the way we live again and again and again.
John Doerr has reason to believe. Doerr and his firm are among Silicon Valley's top venture capitalists. The list of startup companies they've helped finance is a who's who of the Internet age. But these days, Doerr has set his sights on the energy sector and on solving global warming.
All of our talent and all of our influence to solve this problem. Look, energy is a $6 trillion market, and I believe that going green, addressing this opportunity, could well be the largest economic opportunity of the 21st century. Cellulosic biofuels, solid oxide fuel cells, better batteries, flexible solar cells, more efficient cars, and many more.
But in order to unlock this potential, John Doerr, like William Riley and General Wald, believes a cap-and-trade program for carbon dioxide is absolutely essential.
It's a capitalistic, free market, entrepreneurial way to recognize that people who beat that goal should be rewarded, and those who do not should pay a price. A cap recognizes, a cap charges, a cap measures what the real costs are of tossing 70 million tons of CO2 in the atmosphere every day, as if our atmosphere was an open sewer. That's just not free.
In the end, whether you view it from the perspective of environmental protection, national security, or individual business opportunity, capping carbon dioxide emissions and creating an open market to trade them is the obvious solution.
I'm an Adam Smith free market person. I am. But necessarily, in this case, I believe we're going to have some intervention to get us off the dependency earlier.
The combination of the two, the cap and the trade, they work very much in tandem to get you the most cost-effective and, I think, finally environmentally effective results.
What kind of stewards are we of the planet that we inherited? Will we leave our world in better shape for our children than when we entered it?
You not only get the national security issue addressed, which is the immediate, in military terms, sucking chest wound, but you also can get the long-term benefit of addressing the climate issue.
I think we're poised at the edge of an altogether new world on energy.
The bottom line is this. We've got to cap our emissions and then in the most efficient, market-based way, trade to lower emissions so we can grow our economy, grow our national security, grow a better future for ourselves and our kids. Cap, trade, and grow.